Hello, and welcome back to the Minecraft experience with me, your host, Jay. So nice to see you. We decided that we needed to get this area cleaned up. It was absolutely a mess, and there were just trees everywhere, and the beacon was out and about, and I wasn't a fan, because walking over by the farm over here, it was so enjoyable because it just had so much going on with the nice firefly bushes. The path just looked really nice. I liked seeing our custom tree, but mixed amongst all of the standard vanilla Minecraft trees, it didn't look that good. I've kept the cherry trees over there, and I've kept this house's tree for now. I would like to get that updated. Maybe that's something we're going to be working on this episode. But one thing I wanted you guys to take a look at, you'll notice that this chest is opening and closing. It's still a little messy, but we've got some golems. And it's quite messy in here because I've got all sorts of auto crafters. But basically how it's working right now is the melons are coming in, the melon slices are coming in, and they're going to be putting them over here. And this little melon slice thing, I've kind of got it set up so that it can only output when I think it's pretty much this amount left. Like you can see, they're no longer getting pulled out. But then they go ahead and we'll see some come in here. They'll get crafted, anything over that amount. They'll get crafted into melons, which get sent back to over here. And we've got melons in here, pumpkins in here. We've got all sorts of carrots and things. You can see I've been trading. I am level 56. I do need to silence all these boys because it's too noisy in there, you know what I'm saying? And something that you may have seen in the intro is our little store now has its own little garden next door. I figured what good is a store if it doesn't have a way to grow its own goods? So it's also got a little hay bale storage over here for, the horses that live on the server. And by server, I mean in this world. We've got our beautiful store still working. Let's take a look in here. We've got 25 honey blocks, and we are quite full on honeycomb. So pretty soon we will have to go around and start fixing all of the copper that needs to be waxed on and waxed off. And if we run in the house, you will notice we do have a ton of chests in here, and these are all just filled with the various items. Everything in here is kind of like the different blocks, gravel, granite, andesite, and so forth. Then we've got dirt and grass. We've got stone on the bottom half here, cobblestone up there, and this is some of the sand that we ended up picking up. We've got our standard wood chest here, along with all of our different variants. These are just leaves temporarily. And as you'll notice, maybe most of all, we now have a ceiling in here. Let's lighten these up in here. Do I have any honeycomb? I do have a couple honeycomb. So let's go ahead and just wax these guys. I want to keep it nice and bright in here at all times. But you'll notice we do have a little bit more completed up there. And we have some, these are all full honeycombs as well. So I can come and grab a stack real quickly if I need to. But you'll notice we've got some villagers. And if you have a good eye, you'll notice we've got a door over here. Well, what I wanted, I eventually we will go ahead and kind of do up the entire exterior of this building. We don't have the motivation for that just yet. But to give you an idea, we've got this nice little hidden bubble case here. So if I kind of come up here, boom, we've got a way up and down. And this is basically how I'm getting my redstone for this entire time. I've just been coming up to these guys and grabbing the dust. I used to just have the one villager down there, who is still down there, to be fair, and, grabbing him from there. But I needed a lot more redstone. I was running very short. And what I might have to do is maybe cut out a little block here, move this out a little bit, just so we kind of have a way up and down, because Right now, it's not that great. Maybe I could curve the staircase in a little bit or something. We'll have to figure out a way to get down. But for right now, I just hop over the staircase right here. So if you take a look, we have been grinding some emeralds. We've been grinding lots of redstone, and we've got our beacon reclaimed. So now the lake looks nice and beautiful, and one thing I noticed was there was a weird spot in the replay mod. I am a little concerned there might be... Yeah, look right here. We've got a weird spot of this. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a bucket. Should be able to take it from anywhere. Just fill one in down there. Does that fix it? All right, we have fixed that water issue. So if you saw that in the intro, at least you don't have to worry. We fixed it quickly. And since I haven't had a ton of time to play video games much and really record any of the Minecraft experience, what I think this episode is mostly going to be focused on is kind of like the actual experience, which is, you know, a little bit less in the time-lapse department and maybe a little bit more in the, you know, resource gathering, a little bit in the actual building process. And the whole point of what I'm doing right now is because if you see on my hotbar down there, I've got some mud. And I need to turn that mud into the packed mud. Because what I want to work on today is kind of getting the actual scenery looking nice around here. And in order to do that, we're going to need, you know, our typical path blocks. We're going to need plenty of moss, and we're going to need a heck of a lot of mud because, you know, I want it to look like this path, but maybe even a little bit more professional because we're going to be talking like maybe a main kind of roadway here. You know, this house is hooked up to kind of a secondary road there, and we're going to want to mostly be using that just to get to the farm. Whereas this road right here is going to kind of come from our main harbor area, and this is going to be how the town folk would kind of get around most often. I think we have decimated our wheat field just enough that we don't have to worry about it for a little bit. And I think what might be kind of fun would be to get ourselves a little bone meal farm down here. So if we put the composter on top of the hopper here, and then we put another barrel here, it kind of looks pretty natural. We can go ahead, throw all of our spare wheat seeds in there. I'm an idiot. I forgot that I need to go one further down. Let's try this again. We'll grab the composter. This is only my first time coming back up here to do this. Put the hopper down. Put the barrel in. We put all of our seeds in. We will put our last little stripped dark oak log. And it's much quieter now that it is kind of tucked away down there. And now if I head on down here, we are getting just a little bit of bone meal. You can see we've also gone ahead and started to grow some nether wart at a little bit stronger of a pace than we were before. I don't know if I'm going to need it at any point, but I figure if every time I come down here, I just harvest just a little bit of it, you know, just keeping this much in stock, you know, you get a couple stacks. We've also got some chickens here. You can see we are producing some white and brown eggs. I need to get more brown chickens in here, apparently. Now, this here, I think, is one of the more common kind of block pallets that people will use for the floor. And I think they use it for good reason. I think it looks really nice. It will all go together really well, especially with the brown and the green. So to optimize how much we get out of everything, we'll go ahead and just give ourselves some half blocks of everything. And then maybe as well, we'll grab some stairs. So we know this is our path, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like try and keep most of the path blocks that I have in here. Obviously, I am deleting a few here and there. So I have this wonderful mod you can see in the center of the screen there. If I click R, it will give me a random block that is just kind of down in my inventory. So I can go through and just kind of scatter these about and give myself a random pattern that is truly random. You know, you do the scroll wheel trick and, you know, that makes it work just fine. But I think this is a really nice quality of life mod that I can use in order to make sure that my builds always have a little bit of variation in them without giving me the headache of trying to figure out what goes where. And then normally I'll come back through and I'll take a look at everything and go, okay, how can I clean this up to make this look nice? So obviously we've got a situation here with some of these blocks. We want to be able to merge them nicely. And I think that the mud brick slabs are going to look the nicest. So I want to also bring down our standard mud bricks, kind of get these scattered in here for the most part. I think that will work nicely. And then we also want to scatter in some stairs. I think I'll grab like one of these stairs here, and then maybe just one stair like that. And then after that, we simply just want to do like a little offshoot like this. We're looking a little bit square right there. I wonder, honestly, we can't make it look nice like this, but maybe we do something like that. Just to give a little bit of variation to it. I think that looks really nice, and we'll also kind of have a similar thing coming down the staircase right here. I don't know why I'm destroying this. So if we just kind of come across like this, that's the reason that I was going to get rid of below, because I think this looks nicer when you do that just a little bit extra. So you can kind of see how we're getting like a little bit of different variation throughout the blocks here. The reason that I kind of wanted the two that way is so that you have the different blocks that kind of separate like that. So I want to keep coming across, kind of using this new 3x that I seem to have laid out for myself here. Pick up our dirt, because Lord knows that I like to keep as much material as possible, because truly you'll never know if you're doing working on a huge project and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, I need 76 stacks of dirt or something like that. So I always try to make sure that I'm always got just a little bit of dirt on me. I think we will need like a dirt slab here. Let's put like a packed mud. And we kind of skewed this to the right a little bit, but that's okay. Nothing we can't fix, just with a little bit of fun here. If I do something like that, I don't want to do both down below. If I do something like that, it kind of looks like maybe, oh, we got a little bit of damage in the, you know, a little pothole to add a little depth variation. The same thing's kind of happening right here. It's getting a little bit boring. So why don't we add a little depth variation? And I think adding it with a staircase will make it look a little bit nicer, because then you don't fall into it as much, right? So let's do that again, like maybe here. And I'll go backwards for that one. I think that looks nice. And maybe we should do that with this one as well. We made the mistake, but it gave us the idea. A happy accident, as Mr. Bob Ross would say. Now, when it comes to this pathway here, we've got a lot of this mycelium built in. We've got a fair amount of the moss built in, and that's kind of what we're really missing on this path right now. We don't have any of that like outskirt dirt. We've got like a super clean line that just kind of goes off in the distance here. And I said mycelium like 6 times there, but what I really meant was I believe it's podzol. It's not mycelium. Mycelium is in the mushroom biome, in case you were curious. But if I scoot over here real quick, I think we can just kind of do something like this over here, because I think we're going to end up wanting to use this area as like a farm anyways. And I think the podzol would look really good over here. So we will wait for the podzol to grow over there, but we do need to get a little bit of bone meal here. I actually went down there to grab that, and I literally just remembered, I think I already took a bunch of stuff out of the iron farm, and in one of these chests right here, yep, we've got some bone blocks. Excuse me, Mr. Horse. I know I have one. I need to move you, buddy. Ow. So we'll want to grab some of these azalea trees. And some of these moss blocks, I don't have a ton of firefly bushes. I think I have some back in the main house, but I won't worry about that just yet. And maybe a little bit of bamboo as well. So what I really want to do is kind of just come down the center line here and just kind of do this here and there. I don't want the long bushes, and I don't want any of these trees to kind of mess with the vibe that I've got going on over there. I think at some point we will be pushing a fence kind of along this line as well, because right now it's like kind of just like a stark contrast looking down the side, and I don't think I love that. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of starting to look a little bit more like a genuine path here. We've got a lot of work to do to clean it up. And you know what? The more I'm kind of walking around here, the more I'm thinking like these might actually look a little bit better without all of these little things. So let's get to the end real quick. So I think there's like little areas that it makes sense to have things in it, but I don't know that that is kind of the direct adjacencies. I think by getting a little bit more spread over there, if I just kind of walk along the side and hopefully don't get rid of some, if I just walk along the side here and just chop everything that's like, you know, within like 3 blocks or so. Like, I feel like that looks a little bit better. It still needs to get broken up, which is exactly why I kind of want to put these trees maybe every 4 blocks. Maybe 5, and we put like light posts in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang here, which would actually be here because we're kind of going 2 away. 1, 2, 3. Don't mind if I grab a few lanterns from you guys. You don't sell any? Come on. 36 lanterns should be more than enough. And if we just do like a little, we kind of put these up too high, right? So if we just do a little something like this, and then maybe even scatter these along. I don't know how I feel about that. So maybe even if we do something like this, I think this could look nice. I don't know. You'll have to let me know your thoughts on which one you like more. I think I will keep maybe like one side open, or do we maybe do something like this? Kind of like scatter it about, make it look a little bit more kind of planned, and then you know the back side is overgrowing a bit, but the front side we mostly keep manicured. You know, you got some overgrowth here and there, but for the most part I think it looks really nice. Now, I'm fairly certain I've made most of my home pretty safe to live in. My inventory is a little full, but I've been using bundles to kind of like keep the small stuff in the inventory a little bit more organized. We would have kind of like a wall located along our fence here. So if I just kind of come through, now here I'm kind of at a loss what to do. I think we cut it in. You know, sometimes you do have to work with what the terrain has given you. And this can be like a little entrance, I guess, there. Not gonna lie, the villagers just gave me a mini heart attack. But that's okay. That's fine. Everything's fine. I don't need to go all the way over. I think I'll go over like that amount. I think that looks just fine. We'll have to get some coarse dirt kind of spread throughout here. But I think this is looking pretty nice. Maybe we put a couple scatterings of bush in here. Nothing like too crazy. And then we know we brought the bamboo. So we can kind of put a few little bamboos around, and if you put a little string over it, the bamboo won't grow. I will let a couple of them grow to some height. And if we just put 2 like that, that'll grow to the 2 high one. I think this one we can go to maybe the 3 high. And it shouldn't grow higher than that. This one I'd like to keep a little baby. And this one I will also go to high. But I think this looks really nice. It gives a lot more kind of character to the area, and it really starts to feel like there's a community that's forming and living here. You know, when I come around this corner now, it actually, like, it's like I'm walking to where I want to go. You know, we've got a starter little farm, we've got our nice little store, we've got our old original house here. Things are starting to look really, really nice around here. So I do not have enough time to continue this episode. That's if I want to stick to my kind of self-imposed one per week. So I think that's all we're going to do for today. Hopefully this kind of gave you a deep dive into what is the Minecraft experience with me, your host, Jay. Anyways, thanks for watching this more streamlined episode. We will catch you on the next episode. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.